on Tuesday, June 2nd. Mayor Caden Sipe, call this meeting to order. This time, can we get a roll call, please? Here. Here. Excused. Here. 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 Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, is there any questions from council on the agenda?
No.
Staff, any addendums? Okay. With no questions or addendums at this time, I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. We approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much. Can I have a second? Second. Motion's in first and second. Can we get a roll call at this time?
Councillor Funderburk. Aye. Councillor Dufflop.
Aye.
Councillor Smith. Councillor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Councillor McLean.
Aye. Dave, can I get a pen or can I steal one? Okay, at this time we're having the city manager's report. First up, we have general announcements. Dave?
Real quickly, just once again, congratulations to the 2026 graduates. Congratulations, really well done. And it was really exciting to have banners in the downtown for the last about 5 weeks or so. And now we've moved on to landing days as our next event. So we're moving on to that. So congratulations again on that. Just a couple announcements. We have on Saturday, June the 13th is going to be our second Saturday market and concert series. That takes place in the evening. Let me pull that back up real quick. Starting from 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. concerts will start right away. There'll be vendors and food, and it's a family-friendly event and atmosphere. We encourage all to come and attend. No admission, it's free, but you do got to pay for whatever you want to buy. So we anticipate that you'll come and enjoy that. Outside of that, this Saturday, the city is sending 2 teams to the NFL flag regional tournament up in Everett, Washington. And so winner of that tournament would advance to the national championship in Indianapolis. So fingers crossed that we get a team there. So we'll see how that goes. So looking forward to that. Outside of that, I don't have any other announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Stockdale. At this time, moving on now to 5.2, the Police Bond Oversight Committee's annual report.
Thank you. Mr. Ribbich sends us his apologies. He's recently had a medical procedure and is feeling not well today. So I have with me from the Police Bond Oversight Committee, Jennifer Raymond will be here to also help me go through this report and to attend. Give me one moment to pull. Oh, I lost my email. Hold on a second. There we go. For council's information, the Police Bond Oversight Committee was adopted by resolution shortly after the bond measure was passed. It called for 6 to 8 community members, and we have 7 members on our committee. We have Chris Baker, Brenda Bumgart, Gary Mercer, Jessica Miller, Jennifer Raymond, Mark Ribbich, and Imaida I can never say your last, Rizueno is on our committee. So appreciate them. The committee has been meeting frequently as we've gone through the started up construction process. I'll let Jennifer, if you could, where'd you go? There you are. Sorry. If you want to head up to the podium, if you want to give us a brief introduction of the work that's there, and then I'll go through the report itself specifically. No problem.
My name is Jennifer Raymond, and I live at 312 Yakima Street in McNairy. And we have been meeting once a month or so. We've went down and saw the site. Not sure what else you want, Dave.
All right, you bet.
We've answered questions.
I'll go a little deeper in there for you. So you have the report is attached to your agenda packet. Generally speaking, like we've said, we've had a kickoff. We've been meeting at least once a month, and the committee's been reviewing general expenditures, general scope of work of the services, checking contracts and contractors, and we've had site visits as well. They've reviewed our engineers' construction estimates, our guaranteed maximum price, and they even worked with us as we were getting ready for our bond sale, which occurred 2 weeks ago. So we've taken those items through committee and for their review, answered any questions they might had, and then met on site with the contractor. We've had some interesting hurdles that we've been working through that project, mainly a lot with our franchisees have not always played perfectly nice with the terms of their franchise agreements, meaning they need to move their stuff if it's in the way of our project at their expense in a reasonable time frame. And so that's been a little bit tricky, and we're still managing through some of that. But outside of that, the project has been moving along rather well. Not sure if there's anything else that you might want to add.
Dave, that franchise issue, has that caused any budgetary issues so far with the bond?
So far, no budget impacts. We did they stayed mobilized, but a full stop for about 2 weeks. And they have other projects that they're working on, but all their equipment, everything was still here. So at the moment, it's just a time delay, but it hasn't been a budget impact.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody
questions
have
from
any
council?
questions?
We're still on schedule. Everything's other than the 2 week delay. We're just a little bit behind.
Project is 2 weeks delayed, but there's about 4 weeks of contingency in the overall project timeline and schedule. So at the moment, we anticipate that we're still on schedule.
Okay. I like it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Raymond. At this time, we have the Umatilla Chamber of Commerce 2026 quarterly report. Josiah, go for it.
Josiah Barron, Umatilla Chamber of Commerce, as you heard, 100 Klein Avenue. Just go over a few of the highlights here, and then council, if you have any specific questions, you're welcome to ask. And also, request, I hope I made a few changes to the presentation of the report, and I hope it was great for you to look at when you were reviewing it. But as you'll see, there was a bit of a change in our membership. We've been going through one of those ebbs and flows, and right now it was a little bit on the down. I think part of it was we started off, and then in 2025 we had a lot of growth, and we had to refocus, since sometimes being the only staff member and working with the board, the volunteer board, sometimes I got to remember when to ask for get help. So we've been having those hard discussions, and then reestablishing some of our goals and objectives here. So as you can see right now, we have, well, actually, as of right now, because it's between when I submitted this report and then, we have 70 chamber members currently. So as you can see, a larger drop in comparison to where we were at in the same quarter in 2025. But I would say about 6 of those actually between when I submitted the report and now, I've also made direct contact with 2, and they're continuing. So I expect that we'll continue to reestablish and be able to manage a more manageable growth instead of letting everything get ahead of us. But now I will move on a little bit, just a few other highlights. Similar thing you'll see in the social media. There's still been good growth in growing our social Instagram and Facebook pages, but when you compare it to how we were growing in 2025, it is a big difference there. But once again, just working on getting reestablished with the community and keeping on that managed growth and staying connected with the local businesses and other people involved. And I know we've been working on some other exciting opportunities that we have coming up in further partnerships with the city. And we were glad to have at our first quarter luncheon in March, City Manager Dave Stockdale there give a State of the City address. It was great presentation there, and those that I talked to at the luncheon there enjoyed it and found it a valuable connection, even though it was a bit smaller group this time with a dozen people. Then once again, our annual Distinguished Citizens Award Banquet was a great event once again this year, and it's always a great partnership with the Umatilla Chamber and the Umatilla School District and Umatilla Police Department, being able to present awards to some of the great community members in our community. Just quick congratulations again to the Business of the Year, Greater Purpose Heating and Cooling, and our Citizen of the Year, Genesis Lugo Zuniga. But also we had an opportunity to host the Umatilla County Fair Court here in Umatilla and have a tour of some different businesses, longtime businesses in other key areas, as well as here. Thank you to city staff who were a part of, especially Jacinio Carrillo, and also I know Dave took a little bit of time in his busy schedule. We dropped into his office, and Carrie as well. She took a little bit of time to answer some questions. So thank you to city staff for welcoming the Umatilla County Fair Court. I know we got to visit United Grain Corporation, learn about all the wheat and how that is transported through here internationally, and talk with some of the businesses and Dave at Harvest Foods and some of our small businesses. Everything I heard from the chaperone as well as the princesses, they learned a lot here about the history of Umatilla they didn't know about, especially talking with some of the folks from the museum, and Sam Nobles always has a lot to share, and just visiting the different businesses, they really enjoyed it. Great collaboration there. And then for this quarter, we've distributed 483 Umatilla visitor guides to the Umatilla Mall County area, as well as sending some out to some of the other we've sent some to the Union County Chamber of Commerce, and also Visit Tri-Cities up there. And also the last thing I'll put in there, I had opportunity to attend the Oregon Governor's Conference on Tourism earlier in March. And some of the key things that they talked about was how AI is affecting people's search and for tourism, for visiting locations, whether it's lodging or restaurants or other things. But they didn't just talk about some of the issues or changes, but also some solutions on what we can do about it, making your destination more accessible, whether it's to the large language platforms like ChatGPT or other things like that, of different things that people are using for their main searches, a lot of the cases now, as well as different options, funding, and opportunities for making your destination more accessible as well to travelers of all abilities. Well, that is my report for tonight. If you had any questions, council.
Thanks, Joseph.
Well, thank you very much.
Moving on now to 5.4, the Community Development Semi-Annual Report. Zach?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Zach Rackhide, Community Development Director. Going through my records, I think with some of the staff turnover at the director's level, this hasn't been done in a little bit of a time, but we wanted to recap the first half of 2026 and what's going on with the Community Development Department. So our team, me as the director, we have Maricela Morales as Community Development Department Manager. Our building official is Kevin Roth. We have our associate planner, Nancy Miranda. We have two building inspectors, John Hoffhines and Mike Lopez, and our new permit tech, Angela Wilson, who transferred over from the Public Works Department. So she's made consecutive months of being on departmental reports. So, but good to have her on the team. We are now located in the Umatilla Business Center across the street, as you know. And just a brief look into our mission. We continue to support Umatilla's growth through a renewed focus on economic development. We obviously are part of land use planning and just general development services, building permitting, and inspection. We work to support existing businesses, attract new commercial and industrial investment, and really guide our community growth through the land use planning and building permit process. Yeah, so kind of dipping a little bit into economic development. Our department is in charge of the quarterly downtown grant program, as well as our local business grant program, where we provide grants that we bring forth to council, to local businesses. This could be anything from structural assistance, design assistance, new signage. It's really been a great program that a lot of businesses have taken on and taken advantage of, and we're really proud to continue that support to the community. We've also been working on additional industrial recruitment. As we know, data centers have been the main driver of our industrial growth over the last number of years. We've been working with other clean energy companies to see if they want to attract and build here in Umatilla to kind of diversify our industrial base, as well as looking to attract support services for our data center development to keep those going. So whether that's auxiliary services, suppliers, logistical agencies, we've been working hard, not only just here in City of Umatilla, but with our regional partners, the City of Hermiston and Umatilla County, to bring that growth and diversification to our local economy. In addition to that, beginning to look at how we can attract additional hotels and lodging to the City of Umatilla, restaurants, and additional retail to the community. And that's both a local, regional, and national outreach as well. Moving on to our land use planning area. So we do kind of look at it from a inverted triangle filter. So you have economic development where you bring the businesses in, then you have to go through your land use entitlement approvals. So just a little bit of recap. We're looking at finalizing. We processed two final subdivision plats to enable additional housing growth in the community. Along with that comes with your underlying roads and utility plans. So working in coordination with our city engineer and our public works department to get those approved. A number of zoning permits through our joint management agreement with Umatilla County within our growth management, or excuse me, our urban growth boundary. A couple conditional use reviews, a couple annexations, which will be on the docket in the coming weeks for city council. Rezoning and plan amendments as well. Also providing support for the Urban Renewal Agency, and just generally brushing up and trying to maintain and improve our customer service as well to the community, both applicants large and small. On the building side of things, yeah, it's been very busy on the building permit side. Since January, processing 27 new single-family home permits. Looking at a number of commercial permits. So these could also be associated with a single building, but you would have one structural permit, one plumbing permit, one electrical permit. And just really working through our growth in all sectors, commercial, industrial, and residential. This brought in $1.4 million in fees paid to the building department, and evaluation. So the value of the building, the value of the improvement, $143 million to the community since January as well. We're also working on building our team and building our expertise to serve the community. So we've recently, some of our inspectors have gotten their commercial, mechanical, and plumbing certifications. They're training on residential electrical. So this would be able to have the better responsive for permits and inspections in-house. Mike Lopez on our staff recently achieved his residential structural, electrical, and building official certification, so he can back up on large-scale administrative decisions, and residential plans examiner as well. Kevin, our building official, is achieving he's in charge of residential, commercial, structural, plumbing, electrical, mechanical, and our ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act inspections. So those are going to be your wheelchair ramps, your bathrooms, and really just trying to develop a well-rounded team to serve the community. We do consult and review just because we are very busy on plan review and inspection, and a lot of fire plans examination. So looking at fire systems, sprinkler systems, that sort of thing. And we still work with the state of Oregon as well, pitching in on a lot of electrical review and inspection, since that's very specialized items as well. Continuing on the building side, we're still seeing some robust residential development. So up in the McClanahan subdivision, Monte Vista Homes building up there, we have just approved a plat for 45 additional home sites to be built there. We are working on final utility drawings further to the west, so for 48 additional lots. And further down Power Line Road, looking at 102 lots available for construction, and working through the entitlement and approval process to put 72 more home sites online for growth and development. So South Hill Power Line Road area, we're seeing activity all over the community, but for residential, that's primarily where we're seeing a lot of our growth. So in the future, as we build the department in 2026 and beyond, we've recently revamped our pre-application meeting process, where we have our fire district and our public works department, our city engineer, to meet with applicants before they submit for the planning process, to really help them provide better submittals and give them the knowledge that they would need to design their project better, to get through the process a lot quicker as it conforms to our code. We are going to be undergoing some development code updates. So for our zoning and land division code, and a lot of this stems from laws that were passed in Salem through the legislature the last number of years, and really just trying to conform our local code to new state mandates that have come out of that. In addition to that, we are undergoing a housing capacity analysis to learn, what our housing needs are in Umatilla, how that conforms to the state, what the state thinks that we need as well. But this is a more localized study, and that will enable us to grow community boundaries if we need to serve residential growth and the desired future residential growth in the community. Working through just some of our smaller processes like solicitors licenses to make sure that we're getting those in place for the community and conformance to the code. And then later this year, we'll be working with Umatilla County to revise our joint management agreement for urban growth boundary area lands that where our jurisdictions kind of mesh a little bit.
Zach, can I piggyback a question off?
Yes, sir.
Talking about UGB, we recently were talking about, expanding it. Is that still something that's in the works, or is that, where are we
Yeah.
at on that?
So we're looking at, there's both industrial, commercial, and residential expansion, and that's why you do a housing or economic opportunities analysis to see, okay, if you were to go forward to move to expand the UGB, this is how much you can expand by. So it takes our current inventory on hand here and really tells that story of how big that could grow.
So because we had someone present that not too long ago, it was probably back in, what was that, April?
I think February.
February,
So
okay.
Johnson Economics was here. They did the economic opportunities analysis presentation. They helped us with our BLI, our buildable lands inventory. That focused primarily on industrial and commercial lands. And the very short version of that report is that we currently have sufficient industrial lands. However, if two of our large parcels are sold, then we are in the short category, where we don't have enough industrial lands. We were okay on commercial land, and this housing capacity analysis that Zach is mentioning here, that will give us where we are in the housing inventory side. The last time we did housing inventory analysis was in 2018, and at that time it said that the city of Umatilla was 1,200 housing units short of what we needed for housing, which is interesting because we have a lot in the UGB, particularly to the west. Once you go to the west of the Umatilla River and you stay on Highway 730, that's for about a mile and a half. That's all inside the urban growth boundary, and shows that we have potential expansion for urban growth boundary and residential expansion and capacity there. But even with that, we showed that we were still 1,200 housing units short at that time. So we'll get that refreshed, and we'll see where that looks like. We'll be bringing presentations to you there that we're getting help from a couple different consultants on that. We'll probably have something for you mid to late summer.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Or not Scott, Zach. Appreciate it.
You bet.
I still miss Scott. Yeah.
We all miss Scott.
On the economic development side, we're undergoing a lodging feasibility study. So this would show essentially take our market for hotels, which properties around Umatilla are prime for hotel development, and what sort of lodging we can target as an economic development. So is it an extended stay hotel? Is it a hotel for highway travelers? So really, we're trying to build that foundation to see how we can target and best use our recruiting effort for lodging. Working on, just general property redevelopment, finding additional training for staff. Economic development is becoming a larger focus for our community and our department as well. So really making sure that our staff is well trained on that, and facilitation of our business incubator program in the business center as well. We have 2 of our 3 tenants moved in. One's in the process of opening, and our bakery in the business incubator did a soft opening this week. So if you're around during the day, stop on by and check them out, support that business as well. And we'll bring a full report on the business incubator in the coming months, just to kind of get some preliminary numbers and stories to tell to the council as well. In addition to that, just continuing our certifications and training for our building inspection team. A lot of their current certifications need to be renewed, but also looking at the training opportunities so we can save on some outside consulting costs as well. We'll be looking into the property maintenance code as well, and seeing if we need to bring that to council for discussion, to look at existing properties, and just further credentialing of our staff to help them serve the community a lot better. So that's it for the report this evening, but I can certainly stand for any additional questions from council.
Looks good to me.
Yeah.
All
A
right.
lot of growth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, for sure. We're very busy.
Yep. Great job.
See
Zach.
you all in a little while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Moving on now to our paid invoices. Any questions from council on paid invoices as they currently
None.
stand? Nope. No questions. We're going to move on now to our first public comment period. Sergeant Dyke, if you'd help me out. As a reminder, the public comment segment allows community members to share their opinions, raise concerns, and provide information directly to the city council. Comments should address city-related issues and must not pertain to items scheduled for a public hearing on the same evening. Thank you. Same evening's agenda. If you wish to speak, please come up and sign up. Include the topic you wish to address. Please begin by stating your name and address when called to the podium. Speakers are allotted 5 minutes unless otherwise directed. Please note, comments criticizing city programs and operations are permitted. During this segment, however, criticisms of individual city employees is not allowed during the public comment period. Concerns regarding city employees should be submitted in writing to the city's human resource manager for proper review. Thank you for cooperation. First up, we have Mr. Tagland. Nancy, did you? Okay. Mr. Tagland, can you please make sure you turn on the microphone for us here? It might be off. The red light should come on. Nope, just the one you already signed, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Hear it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Dewey Tagland, and I am a business owner here in town. and I'm also a resident. I live up in McNary.
Sir, can you say your address for the record?
The business,
Business or your personal?
I'm sorry, I'm a little hard of hearing and I
You're good.
did catch what you said.
Your address. At the
The
state.
business is 1251 Switzler Avenue here in downtown Umatilla. I own the car wash and laundromat across from the middle school.
Thank you, sir.
My home address is 135 El Monte.
Thank you.
So I got some dual concerns. The notice that I got in the mail said, does not increase property taxes. And yet the way I'm kind of reading stuff here, you're going after the tax districts for funding for this West Umatilla and East Umatilla, about $78 million each. And reading what the school superintendent had to say about it, that somehow or another, if the funds kind of run out of the school funds, the state will replace some of it up to a certain amount, but then what happens after that? You know, I mean, are you then going to come after the property owners and for it? And how can we be assured that you're not? And then the other thing is, the other concern is that you make these improvements and then, oh, by the way, the county assessor, tax assessor comes along. Oh, now your property's worth more money and we want to tax you for that. So there is a tax hit. And I'm concerned about it, and I'm concerned at my business down here, the car wash and whatnot, of how the new curbs and sidewalks are going to match up with my parking lot. And do I have to do a whole bunch of modification to my parking lot to match the new curbs and sidewalks? And it could be quite expensive for me. I'm guessing that the city is not willing to pay for any improvements inside my property line, neither downtown here or at my home in McNary. And on El Monte Street, and some of the driveways are downsloping from the street. And you guys just finished a project up on Madison Street. Looks really nice, curb and gutter and sidewalk and new pavement, but the driveways don't all match up with the curb openings in the curbs. And some of them is a pretty radical slope that they would have to tear out their driveway and redo. Some of them would have to tear out their driveway, redo their whole driveway to match. And some of them have minor modifications to match the driveway. And in my opinion, it looks ugly up there on Madison Street. And I don't want that in my neighborhood up in El Monte Street, and I don't want that down here on my business. So how are you going to mitigate that? Or are you even concerned about that? We businessmen are sometimes have a hard time, when these street projects get going. And I remember the one that was done downtown here, and especially in front of the barber shop, because that's where I go get my hair cut. And he was not happy. James was not happy about the length of time that it took to get that stuff done, affecting his clientele and his street traffic, thereby affecting his pocketbook. And let me back up just a little bit. I was a 50-year concrete contractor with 60 years overall experience. I know a lot about curb and gutter and sidewalk. I poured miles of that stuff. And I know that when I set forms to pour concrete, I wanted concrete in them forms that day or the very next day. Here downtown, there was weeks that went by from the time they set the forms until they actually poured the concrete. And to me, that's ridiculous. And I think that if you're going to do some of this stuff, that you ought to have contracts with the contractors that specify extremely timely getting it done. You know, for instance, I don't know what you're gonna do here on Seventh Street down by my business, but up in El Monte, I'm reading in the agenda that you're gonna put storm drains in, and you're gonna tear up the whole Cotton Pecking Street. And sometimes that just takes months just putting the storm drain in. And so how do we get around the neighborhood? And I'm thinking too that down here by the middle school, you know, some of that sidewalk is only about that far above the pavement. You go in there and put new curb and gutter in there, you're going to raise that 6 inches or another couple of inches, and they have to tear their sidewalks out. And who's responsible for that? I mean, is the sidewalks on city property? Is the city responsible to pay for and match up the new curbs? And you've got all that new construction that they did there on the school. Now, I'm not speaking for the school district. I'm speaking as a concerned citizen that, you know, they put all that in there, and they had wheelchair ramps that go up into the new entrance to the building and concrete stairs. And how do you match all that up? It's to me, it's a quagmire that if it's not properly addressed, it's going to end up looking like Madison Street up here. I'm not sure if I got anything else to say.
For your time, Mr. Tagland.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Boddicker.
Thank
Thank you, sir. Next up, Ms. Wyant.
Gotta adjust a little. Crystal Wyant, 130 Van Buren Drive, and I'm here again to make a couple of compliments of what I've noticed while I'm out walking in the city of Umatilla and driving around. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to our Umatilla police officers. I finally made it to one of the coffee with the cops. And I was really excited because I wanted to meet some of the new police officers. And I went into Maple Moose, and there was Keith Kennedy, who I went to high school with. And so I didn't get to meet anybody new, but Keith and I caught up, had a great time. And I'm hoping other citizens can get out to coffee with a cop. I think it's a great thing. I did have a question I'm hoping that maybe Lyle can answer, or somebody else. I have noticed that we do have our influx of clients from Stepping Stones, and I notice every morning and every evening the congregation of them right by Harvest Foods. I'm kind of concerned about what's going to happen in the next few weeks when it gets over 100 during the day, and if there has been thoughts or preparations about any kind of cooling station. Some of those clients look rather elderly, and I've noticed at least 3 that use walkers to get around. And I'm hoping that we, as a city, are trying to help them and do something that will help them out. Last things, Parks and Rec. I've been trying to get to a meeting, and either my schedule doesn't work, or the meeting I plan to go to, I show up and the doors are locked because it has been canceled because, once again, there's not a quorum. And I personally know that one of those members of the Parks and Rec committee was not even aware that there had been a meeting until I said, hey, I'm going to meet you down there. And she's the one that then told me that the meeting had been canceled. I'm very fortunate. I had a little afternoon off, and I was able to go to Parks and Rec in the new business center. Very nice little setup. They were willing to listen to me as I talked about a couple of issues. And I just wanted to kind of make the council also aware. Once again, Memorial Trail, you're going to hear it over and over again from me. I think those metal fish need to be up on the walk bridge, and I think we need a really good trail and nice access to it. Some landscaping maybe could be improved, and some sort of access for fishermen, because the other day there were 2 people climbing over the big rocks that are right outside the walk bridge, trying to get down to the river, and it wasn't safe. It didn't look comfortable, and I was like, they need access. So I'm not sure what we can do about something like that. And then also at the same time, right there in that same area, of course, the trail that I have talked about, that you get to the top of South Hill and there's the walk bridge right in front of you, and the trail goes that way quite a ways. And I personally don't use that trail. I use the dirt trail, and a lot of the junior high kids that I see walking use the dirt trail. More people I've seen on the dirt trail. And the other day I was in Pendleton, and I drove by where there's a hill and they have stairs. And no, it's not ADA accessible, but we have that now with the path. But stairs would be great exercise. The soccer team and the track team and the cross country team would go, yes, because we ran hills. I don't know how many, you did the hill down by the school, right? So something like that, that will be a physical activity that anybody can do if they so choose. I think it'd be a great addition. And as far as physical activity, I was really disappointed to hear that this last season, there were 12 kids, only 12 kids that signed up for Umatilla Little League. And that just broke my heart. When I was president of the the Umatilla Little League that was part of the Columbia Little League, I had 16 teams. That's over 200 kids. And what has happened? I love that Parks and Rec is doing flag football. I've heard nothing but great things about it. And we can see that they're being representative on the state level. And I think it's amazing. But why is it during the baseball season? Why can't the Parks and Rec do something to help out Columbia Little League? Because I know a lot of people in here are familiar faces, either from coaching, having their kids play, or I ran the score clock when Jared Tesh was playing basketball back in high school. You know, I know what sports can do for people. It's not for everybody, but for some people, it's everything. And you got to stay mentally healthy and physically healthy and take care of yourself. So, City of Umatilla, let's get our citizens healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Robinson. Ann Robinson.
I'm Ann Robinson. I live at 928 Barton Loop in Umatilla, or McNairy, the suburb of Umatilla. I signed up to speak about the marina. What is going to be going on with it? And after I got here, I find out that Riverside Avenue is going to be extended. And that is not good. I have lived on Barton Loop, which connects to Riverside Avenue, since 2007. And we like our quiet little burb up there. And we do get people coming through there, and it's a nice racetrack between there and the viewpoint. So for you, would be nice to catch them. Sooner or later, somebody's going to run that stop sign up there, and it's not going to be pretty because they do that. But I mainly came to find out when something's going to be done about the marina before somebody breaks a leg on the ramp.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, we have Miss Primer. I apologize. Thank you.
Hi there, Karen Primer, 1085 West Madrona in Hermiston. I don't really have a complaint or anything about Umatilla. I actually am here to talk about the dispatch center and what they've been doing for your community. Sergeant Primer is going to hand out some items. We also do some education throughout the year. So I just kind of wanted to give you a brief synopsis of some of the stuff we hand out at the fairs and parades, along with all of the water. Honorable Mayor and City Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak about the Umatilla County Dispatch Center. As of May 12th, 2026, the Umatilla County Sheriff's Office Dispatch Center was officially accredited by the Northwest Accreditation Alliance Committee Professional Standards Board. The Communication Division has 24 full-time positions and utilize 3 on-call personnel currently. We are also looking for more recruitment for both, actively doing that. We recently hired Lieutenant Kennedy's daughter is on call, so that was a score for us. We currently dispatch for 18 different entities for police, fire, and EMS services. In addition to these area partners, the center assists other law enforcement entities such as Umatilla Tribal Police and Fire, United States Forest Service, United States Marshal Service, Union Pacific Railroad. It's been a little bit less with them lately. Oregon State Police and Washington State Police. In 2025, the dispatch center handled 29,431 911 calls and 113,627 administrative calls, which of some are true emergencies. We have a lot of alarm companies that call in on our 10-digit number. These total numbers of calls handled by the dispatch center last year was a whopping 143,061. We received these by wired lines, wireless calls, voice over internet protocol, and texting to 911. I didn't know if you guys knew that that was an option in Umatilla County, but it has been since about 2016. These numbers do not include the radio transmissions outgoing and incoming from those entities, which is extremely high. Adding more resources or having a big incident can increase everything exponentially. I wanted to also recognize a recent state level milestone that was achieved by members of the dispatch team. It's known as EID, or Excellent in Dispatch. It's a state level benchmark, pardon me. It is a EID certification sponsored by NENA, which is the National Emergency Numbering Association, and it and APCO is the standard for the world of 911. It is not an entry-level accolade as well. It is an intense curriculum designed for communicators who wish to move beyond the basics, focusing on advanced knowledge, leadership, tools, and resource management. The ultimate goal of this comprehensive training is to ensure that citizens and field deputies receive clear, calm, and critical assistance during emergencies. This level of expertise helps minimize confusion and streamlines communication between public and field responders. This is what is amazing for my staff, and I'm very proud of them. Currently, only 3 people in the entire state of Oregon have this prestigious credential, and Umatilla County is currently home to 2 of those, with a 3rd on their way. We have Sergeant Hutchinson, who will be on track to have hers by the end of 2026. And currently we have dispatcher Cindy Lemon and dispatcher Rachel Haller, who are both certified for EID. I also wanted to highlight another dispatcher who, for her continuing commitment to our center and to Umatilla County. Carrie Roberts joined Umatilla County Dispatch in 2010 after working for the Juvenile Department for 5 years. This puts her dispatch service at over 16 years. She was the 2025 Dispatcher of the quarter number 3. She has achieved 1,038 hours of documented training for the Department of Public Safety and Standards, which is what the police officers, fire, telecommunicators, corrections are all benefited by, and who where our standards are presented. She currently holds a basic, intermediate, and advanced certification in telecommunications and her EMD certification. She has made extensive contributions beyond the normal daily dispatch duties. She's all about training and education. She continues to be a mentor for new staff, ensuring the next generation of dispatchers are equipped with skills and confidence they need to be successful. Carrie is a key player in ensuring that all the standard operating procedures are up to date as well. And finally, this is my personal favorite. She has achieved the highly coveted award known as the Stork Pin, a Stork Pin in 2025. This award is given to dispatchers who have assisted with the birth of a child via emergency medical dispatch instructions.
Ms. Primer, that's our time right there.
Okay,
5 minutes.
thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And next time too, feel free to reach out to Dave and we can just add you onto the agenda in the future. Just whenever. I'll make sure we fit you in. Moving on now, and thank you very much for your presentation. It's always nice to hear from the county about that type of
Yes.
stuff, and we do appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. Thank you to everyone, Ms. Robinson as well for your comments regarding the marina. On new business item 9.1, we're actually working on getting a grant to work with the Marine Board to actually make improvements there. So we are actively in the middle of getting improvements on there, and it's just happens to be on tonight's agenda. Mhm. Mhm. Yep, we're working on it. We'll get
Yep.
there. Don't you worry. Okay. Yeah, we'll work on
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're kind of at the hands of the Marine Board. So we don't actually own that. Do we have to work with them?
it. Yeah.
Oh, they have all the input.
They're all, yeah.
Yeah, that yeah.
Yeah.
It's a process, man.
State of Oregon thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
We're getting there. We're gonna keep working
Yep.
on it for you. So we're gonna talk about that later this evening.
Yep.
And next up, we have 7.1, the consent agenda. We just have the May 19th minutes. Is there any questions or comments on the 19th minutes on this time? Okay, at that time, or at this time, we're looking for a motion to pass the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes for the May 19, 2026.
Thank you for your motion. Give me a second, please.
I'll second that.
Mr. Smith seconds. Sorry, Bruce, he beat you to it. So we get a roll call.
Counselor Funderburk. Aye. Counselor Dufflock.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Moving on now to our public hearing for this evening, we have 8.1 public hearing. This time, I'm looking for a motion to enter our public hearing for 884, please.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. We leave our normal meeting and enter into a public hearing.
Thank you, sir, for your motion. We have second the motion, please.
I'll second that motion.
Motion is first and second. Can we get a roll call at this time?
Counselor Funderburk.
Aye.
Counselor Dufflock.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We are now in a public hearing. The public hearing is now open to consider the first reading of ordinance number 884 by title only. The procedure that I would like to follow tonight is in this manner. First, A, report from staff. B, public testimony, members of the audience who wish to speak on the proposal, and any received written testimony will be asked to speak in support, in opposition, and or as neutral. C, council deliberations. Council members may raise any questions or comments regarding the testimony of the proposed amendment. D, close the hearings. Persons who wish to testify, you will be allotted 5 minutes. Please give your name and address, sign in for the record at the time to give your testimony. Currently, right now, is there any council members who wish to just qualify himself or herself for any personal financial interests in this manner before us tonight, or any other council members who will report any significant ex parte or pre-hearing contacts?
No.
None? The Oregon law requires that all issues be raised. If any issues are appealed, failure to raise the issues at the hearing may invalidate their further appeal. Failure to raise an issue on the record with sufficient specificity and accommodated by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the city and all parties to respond to the issue may invalidate their further appeal. Any party wishing for a continuance or to keep the record open must make the request while the record is still open. At this time, will staff please make the report?
Thank you, Mayor. We have Elaine Howard here as our lead chief consultant on this. I'll have her come up to the podium there. And she'll start us with a little bit of general background information, sort of urban renewal 101. Most of this you've received already before, but we're going to go through it quickly just to make sure that we have it here in the hearing, make sure that it's available to the public in case they haven't seen it as well. And then we'll go a little bit more specific into the plan from there. And so Elaine, if you wanted to go ahead and get started.
Good evening. I have presented to you before, but always via Zoom. So it's nice to be able to be here with you in person tonight. And I will go through both public hearings. We'll do one first and then close that and do the next one. Next slide, please. So the action requested tonight is for you to receive the staff report, hold your public hearing, and perform the first reading of the ordinance. We'll talk about the East Urban Renewal Plan first. Next slide, please. We are going to do a little bit of urban renewal basics, both because it's been a while since I presented that to you, but also since you advertised this citywide and you have citizens here just to make sure they understand how urban renewal works. So first of all, urban renewal is not a new tax, and people get confused by that because it will show up on a property tax bill if you have urban renewal in your community, but it is not a new tax. You do not pay increased taxes due to urban renewal within your community. Urban renewal in Oregon is basically used as an economic development tool. It is unique in that it has financing attached to it. So you adopt an urban renewal plan. That plan gives you the authority to do financing to complete projects within the plan. In Oregon, it's supposed to be used to address blighting influences in specific areas, and the statute specifically defines what blight is. And it functions on the increases in property tax revenues within that urban renewal area, and we'll talk about that more on a couple more slides here. It's used all over Oregon, and on the next slide, it'll show us the map of, oh, that didn't get in here, it looks like. But I can tell you that in your area, Boardman has active urban renewal areas, Hermiston does, Pendleton does, LeGrand does. So it's used consistently through your area of the state. Next slide. So in Oregon, our property tax revenues, our bills are due every November. We pay those bills. They go to the treasurer, and the treasurer distributes that money to all of the different taxing jurisdictions. So the city, the county, the school district. Next slide. We have property tax limitations, and your property taxes may only go up if you have done substantial rehabilitation to your property, or if you have done new construction. Otherwise, you're limited to a 3% assessed value increase every year. So earlier, a gentleman talked about, well, if they improve the streets, will that make my property taxes go up? No, improvements to utilities within your area cannot make your property taxes go up. Your property taxes go up by direct improvements to your own property only. Your real market value may go up, but you're not taxed on real market value. You're taxed only on assessed value. When a city forms an urban renewal area, which is shown by that blue within the circle there, the property tax revenues in the future are treated a little differently than they were prior to an urban renewal area. That happens when that 3% increase every year that happens on our property taxes. If your property is in that urban renewal area, that 3% increase only goes to the urban renewal agency to do projects and programs within that area. So it doesn't take away from existing funding to taxing districts. What it does take away is increased funding in the future for those specific urban renewal areas only. Next slide. Here's our picture of cities within urban renewal, cities in Oregon that have urban renewal. And you can see up along the border with Washington, the cities that I just mentioned. Next, please. As I said, blight is a precondition of urban renewal. Mostly the blight identified in your two urban renewal areas are infrastructure blight. So it's needs for streets, utilities, sidewalks. So that basic infrastructure that will help your community function better. An urban renewal area functions on an income source. So that is that yearly property tax increase, that 3% that happens. It has expenses for projects, programs, and administration. And it has a spending limit. So it's a little different from your other city funds. The agency is a separate entity to itself, and each of your urban renewal areas will have a spending limit. And you may not spend more than that amount of money on projects, programs, and administration over the life of an urban renewal area. That spending limit is the limiting factor of urban renewal. So a time frame isn't a limiting factor. We do some estimates on time frame, but the limiting factor, or when an urban renewal area terminates, is when it reaches that maximum indebtedness. This just shows you that concept with a little different graph. It shows you that at the time an urban renewal area is formed, the county assessor will do what's called certifies a frozen base assessed value. That doesn't mean taxes are frozen. It just means at that point, those property tax revenues are divided into two different streams. The property tax revenues off of the value of those properties at the time they go into urban renewal, go to all of the different taxing districts. That blue increment is the increase in value within that urban renewal area over time. And that money goes to the urban renewal agency. This particular slide is just a model slide. It isn't modeled exactly to your urban renewal areas. When we get into the information on those, we can talk a little bit more about how that works for your individual areas. So the impacts of urban renewal are not on personal property tax payers. It is on taxing districts. Urban renewal doesn't provide any new money, but it changes where existing property tax payments go. So it goes, the growth in value, assessed value goes to the urban renewal agency from the properties within that urban renewal area. Schools are a little different. The impact on schools is indirect because we have a state school fund. On the next slide, you can see how urban renewal impacts regular taxing districts. It's a direct impact from the lack of them getting the increase within that area. But on the next slide, you can see that the school funding is much different and much more complicated, but there is a state school fund out of which the legislature allocates money on a per pupil basis to the different school districts. Urban renewal will not reduce that amount of money that goes to your schools on a per pupil basis. Urban renewal is used all over the state, and the impact of urban renewal all over the state is on that state school fund. And the legislature has the ability to tap other resources to backfill that state school fund to allow funding to stay stable. There are limitations on urban renewal. So for a city with a population of under 50,000, you may have up to 25% of your assessed value in an urban renewal area and up to 25% of your acreage. Once you have an existing urban renewal plan, it cannot be increased in size by more than 20% of the original plan acreage. And that maximum indebtedness, or that total amount of money that you may spend, cannot be increased by more than 20% of the original maximum indebtedness unless you have approval of other taxing districts. If you increase maximum indebtedness at all, it has to go through the same process that we've been going through for the original adoption of a plan. So we have to go back to the agency, planning commission, county, notify taxing districts, come back for a hearing. So it is not a simple process. It goes through all of those steps that an original plan does. There are also statutory limitations on the amount of maximum indebtedness you may establish for an urban renewal area. And this is the specific statutory citation. And that is the reason that both of your proposed urban renewal areas have the exact same maximum indebtedness amount. And that's because it is established by ORS 457. Next. So a new urban renewal plan is adopted by having the ability for public to provide their input. So this hearing provides that ability. There have also been other public meetings where the public could have provided input. The agency had a meeting which decided to move I'm going to keep going and this slide will come back up. To move the plans through the public review process. At that point, we sent out letters to all the different taxing districts, informing them of the urban renewal plan and asking for any written input, and that written input would be addressed by the city council. It goes then, we did a meeting with the county just in the last week to the county commissioners and received positive input from them. The planning commission reviewed the plan for its conformance to the comprehensive plan and voted that it did conform to the comprehensive plan. So where we are now is at the city council hearing and review of a non-emergency ordinance. And you'll have the second reading of that ordinance in July. So the proposals have two separate urban renewal areas, each with a maximum indebtedness of 77,898,370. And again, that number is a statutory limited number. This is the proposed boundary of the East Urban Renewal Area. One of the best practices, understandings of urban renewal areas is that it must be contiguous. So sometimes you facilitate it being contiguous by right of way, or we also have right of way where we put that right of way in just because there's a potential project for that right of way in the future. Next. In the east area, the acreage is 370.7 acres. The assessed value right now is 5,244,788. The projected time frame, again, that's not a limitation, it's a projection, is 18 years. Most urban renewal areas on which I've worked, and I've done many of these over the past 20 some years, have a time frame of about 30 years. So yours is much shorter. So the impacts overall are much shorter to the different taxing jurisdictions. And again, that maximum indebtedness is about $78 million. Next. The East Area financial projections, which are required to adopt an urban renewal plan, are mostly based on the Amazon PDX 63 project. And that will come on the property tax rolls in fiscal year 2034-35. The East area is projected to have 60% of that value that will come on the property tax rolls. It is that project really that is funding these proposed projects within your urban renewal area. So the ability to get the taxes that will be being paid by the Amazon project coming back on the tax rolls. In the financial analysis, again, we see that maximum indebtedness. These are in round numbers of $77.9 million. The net TIF means the amount of money that will have to be collected to pay not only that maximum indebtedness, but any projected interest on debt. And you are allowed to collect those tax increment revenue to pay that interest on debt. So the net TIF is projected to be $94.6 million. The capacity in 2026 dollars, so that maximum indebtedness looks out over that full 18 years. If you bring that back to today's dollars and say, what can I buy in today's dollars from that $77.9 million, you can buy about $59.8 million of projects. In working with your staff, they want to do expenditures right away to be able to undertake some of these major projects for your community. And so in the first 5 years, it is projected that you would use about $31.7 million of that maximum indebtedness. And then the next 5 years after that, you don't have capacity to use more. But then in years 11 through 15, you have capacity again. And then in those final years, you have some additional capacity to do projects. This shows the urban renewal money over time. So this is kind of similar to that graph that we looked at before. But what you can see here is the big spike in the blue is when that was Amazon property, when that Amazon property comes on the property tax rolls. So you'll be able to receive tax increment funds from that. That goes down and then levels out, and that is due to revenue sharing. There are limitations in the statute that say once you reach a certain threshold of amount of money per year, you must then share anything above that with all the other taxing districts. So at that point, starting in about 2036, the amount of money the Urban Renewal Agency would get for this area is the same throughout until the very last year of the area, when you'll be taking a little bit less because you don't want to exceed that maximum indebtedness. In the urban renewal plan, and I heard some people talking about this as I was waiting for the meeting to start, we have a lot of projects listed. The amount of money that this urban renewal area is going to get cannot fund all of those projects. It's not anticipated that it will fund all of those projects. The way urban renewal works is if a project that you want to undertake is not in the plan, you may not do it. You may only work on projects or spend money on projects that are in the plan. So when we worked with city staff, they identified projects that were either in your transportation systems plan or needed in your other utilities, water, sewer, stormwater. We took all of those projects and city staff divided those into potential phases of development, knowing that to be able to do all of these projects, the city is going to have to get other grants, they're going to have to leverage their money, they're going to have to look for other resources. So at the point that the city looks at their annual budgeting, they'll make those decisions on which projects they will be doing. If they do a bond sale to do that big tranche of first projects, they will have to identify in that bond sale which projects they anticipate undertaking at that time. They are not required to spend money on all of the projects that are in the plan, but they may not spend money on anything that isn't in the plan. The staff has identified these as priority projects for that first bit of money. So Columbia Boulevard from Willamette to US 730, Columbia Boulevard, US 730 intersection improvements, Columbia Boulevard reconstruction, Willamette to Deschutes, Golf Course Industrial Wastewater Diversion and Pond Expansion, Ash Park Sports Complex, Willamette Street reconstruction, and new golf course clubhouse. And again, that's what we have now. At the point that you do a bond sale, you will reconfirm which projects you really are wanting to do and spend money on. Next. This just shows, given the East Urban Renewal area and its acreage, that it does meet those limitations we talked about of being under 25% of your total acreage. We are at 24.62. So we don't have room to add hardly anything more. And we're at 1.08% on assessed value. So the amount of property being impacted for the overall assessed value and impacts on the city budget itself and other taxing districts is only 1% of your assessed value. These are the projected taxing district impacts over that 18-year time period. This is only the negative impact. This is the amount of money they won't be getting. They will, however, be getting, with that revenue sharing that comes in, so that they will be getting more money also out of those Amazon projects in the future. It just that this amount of money would be diverted to the agency to do projects. So the city of Umatilla itself, 19.5 million, Umatilla County, 19 million, Port of Umatilla, 1 million, the fire district, 5.7 million, Umatilla Moral Radio and Data, 1.1 million, the hospital, 3.2, mosquito control, 1.3, special library, 2.5, $78 for the Hermiston Cemetery. We do have to put that on there. I think there's like one property that it is within that boundary. And then we have the different schools. And as we talked about, this shows impacts to those schools, but these impacts are really to the state school fund and to the community college fund, both of which have other funding formulas that keep them essentially whole. the city sent out the information to all of the taxing districts and received written recommendations from the West Umatilla Mosquito Control District, Umatilla Rural Fire Protection District, and the Umatilla County School District number 6R. In your packets, there was information on that and additions to the ordinance that made recommendations. You are required as a city council to either accept, reject, or modify any written recommendation. So in your ordinance itself, your ordinance was written where the action that is being recommended is in bold. So if it says accept in bold, you're accepting that recommendation. And then there are attachments that talk about what those specific recommendations were and what the staff recommendation is on those. And we can come back to that later at the end if you have any questions about that after the public input. Next. So that's the presentation on your first public hearing. So at this point, I think you're looking for public input, and then I'll sit down, and then if you have any questions of me, and then I'll be back up.
I do have one quick question for you before you
Yes.
sit down. So one of the things we talked about previously is that if PDX was at 63, if its tax assessed value were to go down, they kind of have the cyclical nature where they seem to pivot. What is the risk to that? If that were to decrease significantly, how would that impact this?
Then if it would go down significantly, then your revenues would also go down significantly.
So if we basically are putting a loan against it and the revenues go down, does that impact us? How does
Yes,
it
it
impact the
would.
city?
However,
What would be the consequences, I guess, to the city is my biggest question.
I mean, that is, when you're thinking about issuing a bond, all of that kind of underwriting and analysis will be part of that to look at what the expectations are for the assessed value and talking to the assessor about what they see for future. So that's a decision that you'll get more information on when you get ready, if this passes and when you get ready to issue a bond or to go out to the bond market.
Thank you.
I can follow up on that a little bit more too. So with the data centers in particular, there's two sets of property taxes that come with them. And Elaine touched on one of those. One is the impact of Measure 5, Measure 50, the 3% cap on real property, the actual brick and mortar buildings. Those are following along the same historical trend as any other property in the city. Since the 90s, everything is going up that 3% year over year. There has not been a reduction on that during that time, and we don't really anticipate that to be a reduction at all on not only that facility, but on any of the data center facilities. The other is on personal property. This is the taxes that are paid directly to the Department of Revenue rather than to the county assessor. Those funds are paid based upon those properties that qualify for that personal property taxes. So in this case, racks and servers in particular, because their technology is being updated on a cycle, like you mentioned. It typically runs about every 4 or 5 years. You'll see that sort of peak and then decline. And so when they buy new, they get a reassessment and they run up to whatever their highest value is going to be in that first year. And then they depreciate those on their depreciation schedule, like I said, which has typically been about 4 or 5 year depreciation schedule. And then and so you'll see that reduction for a big year increase, and then a 4 year of mild to moderate reductions. And then you'll see that continue to do that there. So you got two things happening simultaneously at the same time. One on the real property at that 3% steady, and then those that are doing this with the personal property based upon that cycle.
Thank you. Any further questions from council this time? Okay. Moving on now is the time for public testimony. Are there any audience members who wish to speak in favor of this proposal? With there being none, I will move on. Are there any members of the audience who wish to speak in opposition of this proposal?
Hi. Oh, you can hear me. Susan Taylor, 924 Barton Loop. The one thing that I'm in opposition for is punching through Riverside to Bud Draper. Like Ann was saying, we get people that go down to the fence and they just drag race all the way down to the viewpoint. And someday someone's going to run that stop sign and there's going to be a horrific accident. The guy up there's already replaced his fence a few times on that corner. And the other thing is we get the semi traffic that come through there. And a lot of times they come flying down there and all of a sudden you just hear the brakes squeak and kind of laugh a little bit, but because it's like, oh, there's a fence there, but that is a walking path. There are so many people that use that. They bike with their families, they walk every day and they're walking on the sidewalk in the street. They don't have to worry about the traffic. You open that up to Bud Draper and you're going to have people just flying down that road. And it's not right. We've already had part of our property values taken away by the power lines. And next it's going to be major traffic that's going to be coming through there. And you just ruined our little piece of heaven up there. So I just love Umatilla, and it's making me sad that our little section there is that we're not being heard, and because we voiced it many times. So, but anyways, thank you.
Thank you. Please make sure you sign up on the sign up form in the back as well. Oh, it's already up there. Okay, thank you.
I probably made it pretty clear in my comments earlier how I felt about this project. I am opposed to it, not only down here in the west end of Umatilla, but also up in the McNary area. I've spoken to a couple of my neighbors about the project, and we're happy with the way our street is. No, we don't have sidewalks and curbs and whatnot, but it's a nice, quiet little neighborhood. And I mentioned earlier about the possible change in slopes of the driveways and trying to match the new curb and gutter and stuff. And I just don't think it's necessary. Not in my neighborhood and not down where my business is.
Thank you, Mr. Tagline.
One other comment. It's been my belief through my life, and I'm almost 74 years old. It's tough to believe politicians, and when they say no new taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Tagline. Are there any members in the audience who wish to speak in the neutral testimony on this proposal? Okay. Are there any further discussions or questions from council prior to closing the hearing on this item?
I don't really have any questions. I'm in support of this because it sounds like to me that we're moving the needle forward. Okay, we're doing projects that need to be done in our city that hasn't been done and it's been put off for forever. Our forefathers did us no favors. I'm sorry, but and I agree, sir. I live in McNary as well, but in the same sense, when they got kids walking down the streets and they don't have a sidewalk and they can walk anywhere, we have a lot more population than we did 30 years ago. We have a lot more traffic going on than we did 30 years ago. I hate to say it, but change is inevitable and change is here. So we have to embrace it. I wish that our forefathers many years ago would have had the wherewithal to put in some better sewer systems and some better water systems. They probably never anticipated that we would be where we're at today. Obviously, if we had a crystal ball, it'd be wonderful, but we don't. So we have to prepare as much as we can. And if we can move that needle now, my opinion is that we can do that and work through the process. I think it's only going to help generations to come. That's my only thought on this.
Yeah. And I do want to highlight as well that, sorry, man, the hearing's a very strict process. So I can't call you until you can join the public comment period on number 10 or for the second public hearing. I appreciate your hand raise. But these also are individual projects. There's not necessarily that Barton Loop will get changed or that sidewalks will get built on El Monte Street. These are just proposed ideas. If we don't say them now, we could never fund them. But these are just proposals. So, I mean, these might not happen, these might.
Yes, thanks for pointing that out. You're exactly right. This isn't about a single project. It's about an overall process. We're actually making a reading for the process, not individual things that are going to happen.
And so we'll be able to fight for the individual projects later, and I definitely want to make sure that everyone kind of understands that process, that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Elaine was saying, there's a huge list of things that we can do, and as long as the stuff's on the list, it's a potential fix. But
Right.
I know, like Darren was saying, like there's a lot of neighborhoods where the roads just have pretty nasty potholes and things like that, or they're getting tore up in another 10 years if we don't do something soon. You know, it's just going to get worse. So I think we need to.
Mr. Smith, do you have a comment?
No.
Okay. With no further, Mr. Stockdale, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Mayor, for the comments, and thank you for the follow-up. I wanted to just kind of confirm and reiterate that comment, and Elaine did a good job of mentioning it. The highlight is, so this one was roughly $260 million worth of total projects on the list. And the maximum indebtedness is 77 million. So there's a rather substantial delta there of about $200 million. But in order to have the projects be eligible for urban renewal funding, they have to be on the list. But just being on the list doesn't mean they're going to be constructed or done. To your point exactly, Mayor, that there'll be a process further down the line of when we'll be able to continue to work to prioritize those. Now, staff has put forward this original proposal. Most of those on the east plan are along Columbia and Willamette, as well as the golf course. Riverside, I just wanted to mention that Riverside Avenue is on the list, and that's only because every project that's on both the east plan, which is what we're talking about now, but on the west plan, we'll talk about that in a minute. Excuse me, they're all on adopted city master plans. And so the Riverside project is on the May 2023 adopted TSP, Transportation Systems Plan. It's estimated at about $1 million project, and it had a window to be completed somewhere as early as 2028 or up to 2033. Now, just because it's on the plan doesn't mean that's what we're doing right now. It's not one of the initially identified priority projects to be built, and there could be opportunity to move forward with that. But I do want to point out that each of the projects that are here are all listed in, whether it's our Parks Master Plan, Transportation Plan, Sewer Master Plan, Water Master Plan. Those all went through the required public process for those. And so this is an opportunity for us to look at a way to potentially fund those projects that are in those master plans on a way to implement those. So I just, you said it, I just wanted to I'm trying to just wrap it all up together. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions from council? Okay, with no further discussions, we're looking for a motion to go back into our regular meeting.
I move that we close the hearing.
If we can, yes, you can close this room, but we can stay in public hearing because we have the West Plan hearing as well. So
Okay, do you want to do?
Do we need to do a reading?
Well, we have
When
to
you
do,
come
we have
back.
to, we have to do a motion for a reading, don't we? We can do those together separately per item.
Yeah, so you can do it a couple different ways. Your motion can be for the reading by title only right now, and you can do that in the hearing, or you can close the east hearing, open the west hearing, and then when both of them are done, you can have them both read in under new business. You can do it there. Right now, what we have proposed you on your agenda is to do it in the hearing. Either way, it's on the record. Right at the moment, the preference is to have it in the hearing just so it's all heard at the same time under that protection of the hearing.
So we can stay in public hearing.
So I'm just going off the script that was written in front of me. It's not the script that was written in front of me. It says to go out of it. So if we want to stay in it, I'm fine to move on to the west section.
Yeah, let's just stay in it.
Okay, we'll stay and move on to the west section now. Move on to our public hearing.
I'm sorry. So your motion to go into this hearing was just for this first item. So you still do need a motion to go into the west hearing.
Okay.
But we can close the east hearing and then go into west. We can do that as one motion. And then you can close that. You can do your readings in new business. I think that's how
But we close the east hearing and move on to the west.
Okay, hold on real quick, Lyle. Before we do that, Nancy, say your comment real quick, Nancy. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
You good? Okay, go ahead, Lyle.
I move that we close the hearing for 884 and open the hearing for 885. I'll second that motion.
Motion's in first and second. Can we get a roll call at this time?
Counselor Funderburk.
Aye.
Counselor Duffloff.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Okay. Sarah, umpire's not here.
So we're on to 885, right?
885. Do I need to read the entire script again? Okay,
Yeah,
the
that's
public
it.
hearing is now open. Okay, so public hearing is now open to consider the first reading of ordinance 885 by title only. Okay. The procedure that I would like to follow in tonight's manner is A, report from staff, B, a public testimony, members of the audience who wish to speak a proposal, and any received public or written testimony will be asked to speak in support, in opposition, or as neutral. C, council deliberations. Council members may raise any questions or comments regarding this testimony of the proposed amendment. And then D, close the hearing. Persons who wish to testify, please come to the podium, give your name and address and sign up for the record. You will be given 5 minutes to present your testimony. When asked to do so, is there any council members who wish to disqualify himself or herself for any personal or financial interest in this manner before us tonight? Or does any council member want to report in any significant ex parte or pre-hearing contacts?
No.
There being none, I'll move on to the next section here. Oregon laws requires that all issues be raised if the issues are to be appealed. Failure to raise the issues at this hearing may invalidate their further appeal. Failure to raise an issue on the record with sufficient specificity and accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the city and all parties to respond to the issue may invalidate their further appeal. Any parties wishing a continuance or to keep the record open must make that request while the record is still open. At this time, staff, will you please present your report?
So thank you, Mayor. Once again, we have Elaine Howard here as our consultant. In the last hearing, the information in the beginning was information only. And so we're going to not provide that for you in this hearing, but we'll meet you the statutory requirements here, which is the information about acreage, maximum indebtedness, and so on here. We encourage anyone listening to this, if you are just turning in just for the West one only, we encourage you to please go listen to the East Urban Renewal Area information section as well. Elaine, go ahead.
Thank you. This shows the map of the West Urban Renewal Area. Again, all properties are contiguous, either by touching each other by tax lot or by rights of way. And none of the properties within the east area are within the west area. They have to be totally separate. The west area has 473.7 acres. The assessed value right now is 4,950,327. The projected time frame is 20 years, so it's 2 years longer than the other area. And that is because the other areas was getting 60% of the Amazon value. This area is getting 4%. So it will take 2 years longer to reach that maximum indebtedness of $77,898,370. The West Area financial projections are based on that Amazon PDX 63 coming on the property tax rules in fiscal year 2034-35. And again, the West Area is projected to receive 40% of that value. You can see the maximum indebtedness in row number 2, which is $77.9 million. The net amount of tax increment revenues the assessor is projected to collect for this area is larger than the other area. And that again is because it goes a little longer. So you have to pay a little more interest on any funds that you borrow. So the net tax increment funds, TIF, is projected at $110,400,000. Again, the capacity in today's dollars, 2026 dollars, is lower than the maximum indebtedness. That maximum indebtedness looks out over that 20-year time frame. When you look at it in capacity of today's dollars, we discount that amount of maximum indebtedness back to today's dollars, and it's about $62.2 million. In the first 5 years, it's projected that this area could spend $48,700,000. So again, front loading projects to the beginning to be able to get going on that large list of projects that you have. And then 2 relatively resting periods of five-year timeframes. And then in the last timeframes, another $13 million to do projects. On this slide, you can remember on the other one that we looked at, that was a higher arc before it went down. Again, that's just because this is getting 40% of the Amazon value. And again, it levels out due to revenue sharing. Anything above that in terms of assessed value from all of the properties within the area, the taxes on that will end up going to all the different taxing districts due to revenue sharing. The West area projects total $304,945,608. Again, all of these projects in these categories came from adopted master plans. So your transportation system plan or your other adopted master plans. And again, when you're looking at the projects in the first area, you're looking at transportation projects, utility projects, and parks and recreation projects. As we said before, in the other area, there's not enough urban renewal funding to be able to pay for all of these projects, but we have to put these projects, you may do a minor amendment in the future. We decided with staff, we would just put in the projects now that might be looked at and that were existing on your master plans, because you do have existing master plans. Some of the smaller cities I work with don't. You've done a really great job of having those master plans to be able to draw those projects from. Next. The West area initial projects would be the Umatilla Park Marina replacement, 7th Street reconstruction from B Street to River Road, 8th Street reconstruction D Street to L Street, Powerline Road Phase 2, roundabout Powerline Road improvements, Canal Bridge replacement, and Umatilla Park Marina. Whoops, we're really going to do that. We're going to do it first and we're going to do it last within the first projects. The taxing district impacts, again, these are the impacts projected over 20 years. The city of Umatilla, 22.7 million. The Umatilla County, 22.2. Port of Umatilla, 1.2. The Fire Protection District, 6.6. Umatilla Morrow Radio and Data, 1.3. Umatilla Hospital, 3.7. West Umatilla Mosquito Control, 1.6. Umatilla Special Library, 2.9 million. And again, that's not funding that's being taken away from funding that they have now. It's future tax dollars that would have come from the Amazon project when it came back on the property tax rules. This also shows the projected impacts to the school districts and the community college. And we know that those both have state school funds that substantially backfill any money due to urban renewal, both from either this urban renewal area, but other urban renewal across the state. The taxing district input from the letters that were sent out to all taxing districts were received from West Umatilla Mosquito Control District, Umatilla Rural Fire Protection District, Umatilla County School District number 6R. Again, when you read the ordinance and vote on the ordinance at the next meeting, you are required to accept, reject, or modify any of those written recommendations. Attached to that ordinance is the written information from each of those districts and your staff's recommendation on how to address all of that written input. This is the same slide that we showed within the other area to show that by adopting both areas, you are in conformance with the statutory limitations. You will be right under the 25% limit on acreage, and you are well below the limitation on assessed value at 1%. That is my formal presentation. I'll be happy to come back up at the end if you have any questions, or if you have any questions now.
Any questions from council?
No.
Okay. Now is the time for public testimony. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in support of this proposal? Are there any audience members who wish to speak in opposition to this proposal? Are there any members of the audience who wish to provide neutral testimony on this proposal?
Hello, Council. I'm Catherine Boucher, 1670 Second Street. I was just curious listening to the presentation. It seems like the East and West Urban Renewal seems like a lot of work is going to be targeted for that initial 5 years. And so I was just curious as we're doing the planning and thinking about that, what the capacity looks like of both staff and overseeing the project management, and then also capacity of contractors, thinking about the size of projects that seem like they're proposed in these high priority lists. So just wanted to put that out as something to consider as the plan moves forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With any further comments? Okay, with no further comments, are there any further discussions from council? I think she brought up a really excellent question, staff. It's a really good question.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate the question. I can tell you what we have, how we're set up now. And when it comes time to do these projects, run through bonds, it will look similar, but likely be a little bit different. So the first question was capacity of staff, and then the second, I believe, was on contractors. And so I'll focus on staff first. So the city, we're a small city that can, and we're the 9th fastest growing city in the state of Oregon for all cities over 2,500 in population. And one of the things that makes us a little bit unique is we have a project manager position. Out of the 241 cities in the state of Oregon, less than a dozen have a PM or a project manager. And that's mainly almost exclusively because of the amount of capital improvement projects that we are doing. Our proposed budget next year, which will go to the council at their next meeting for final approval, that's been recommended by the budget committee for approval, includes over $80 million in capital improvement projects. We also have set up our assistant city manager position to help with administration through those projects. And then we have both our public works directors and our superintendent position. We contract out, likely end up doing similar to what we've done on these major projects before, as we had completed now with the business center and with the police department, where we hire a contractor to come in and serve as the main project lead for those projects. They play the main role of leading and guiding those projects, and then our PM and our staff provide them the information and data that they need in order to manage that through. Those types of setup in Oregon are not unique. And in fact, the trend in public sector capital improvement is to go that model that we're following right now. They're very large projects. There's no doubt about that. And we'll need to, staff alone does not have the capacity to do it by ourselves. We're going to have to rely on contractors to do that. So that takes us into that second question, is what is the capacity of contractors? We're pretty fortunate where we are as compared to perhaps other areas in the county, or even our friends to the west of us in Morrill County. Because of our close proximity to the Tri-Cities, we do have several project management contractors that are here in the city now. So we had one contractor that helped with the school bond project. We have a different contractor that helped us with the business center, and we have yet a different contractor that's leading that project management for the police department, new police station. When we put out the bid for the police station, we had 11 contractors bid on that contract, which is pretty remarkable for a town our size, and for the projects that we have. We anticipate that we anticipate a lot of continued interest in these projects as we move forward with that. But as I said before, we'll rely quite heavily on those contractors who this is their whole organization, how they're set up to do that. And then we've set up administrative staff to be able to support that as well.
Okay. Hope the better answers your question. We do appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions from council? Mr. Smith? Sorry.
What impact will there be if the data centers come online later, if they're delayed for number of reasons, including what's going on with Pacific Power.
That's a great question. Both the east and west plan, in this case, we're talking about the west plan, is only based upon PDX 63, which is the data center along Lind Road. That campus is under enterprise zone contract agreement. It's under a SIP, a strategic investment plan contract agreement in partnership with us and the county. It is a 15-year abatement period and it expires in 2033, which is why this will come online. It'll hit the tax rolls in fiscal year 2035, the 34-35 fiscal year. The way that contract is set up is regardless of what they do on that campus, that's when those facilities will come onto the tax roll. So it's had 4 facilities plus some outbuildings for a number of years. It is currently constructing a 5th building on that campus right now, and essentially they're out of space. There may be a few small minor outbuildings there. They'll receive we anticipate that 5th building will receive its occupancy permit sometime in second or third quarter of next year. And so regardless, so with the new expansion of that facility, the assessed value will just be more. In that case, specifically for this building, it'll mean there'll be more revenue available for revenue sharing to the other taxing districts. Because of our maximum indebtedness, we can only come up with that roughly 78 million. And so any additional facilities or expansion that are built there will only be additional funds that go to revenue sharing.
Now, the projected is only on projects that are completed. It's not on future.
Correct. So it's based on, so our urban renewal plan is pretty unique. A lot of times it follows sort of the Field of Dreams mentality. If you build it, they will come. In this case, it's usually an urban renewal is going to build the roads and the infrastructure and to get properties certificated and turnkey ready. In this case, because of the unique circumstances of the SIP, it's already built and it's already here, but because it's on the abatement program, it's not on the tax rolls.
Right.
And so a lot of times urban renewal runs some layer of risk that you will invest millions of dollars into infrastructure in the hope that they will come. And in this case, that risk we don't have. The risk that we do have is what we talked about a little bit in the last hearing, which has to do with some fluctuations that occur in the market, particularly with the personal property market. But outside of that, the risk you're looking at then would be if they were to essentially close shop and head out. And
sure,
that risk is never zero. We just believe that it is very low.
Interesting. Sir, we can't ask any questions for the audience this time, but if you have a public comment I'm sorry, sir, we have to keep going through the hearing. I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay, any further questions from council?
No.
Okay,
No.
with no further questions from council this time, we're looking for a motion now to close the hearing.
Close the record for 885 and have a first reading of ordinance 884 and 885.
Thank you, Nancy. Bruce, did you get that?
So I would make a motion to close the public hearing on number 884.
Bruce.
885.
885.
We're closing the record, not the
Close-
public hearing.
Sorry.
You said.
Close the record on number 885. I would also make a motion for the first reading of ordinance number 884 and 885 by title only.
I'll second that.
Motion's the first and second, and can we get a roll call this time?
Counselor Funderburk.
Aye.
Counselor Dufflaw.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Thank you. Give me a moment to switch gears here.
Okay, actually, I forget that actually read it. No, I always forget about it. Like we just did.
We're voting on $150 million.
Ordinance number 884, an ordinance making certain determinations and findings relating to and approving the East Umatilla Urban Renewal Plan and directing that notice of approval to be published. Ordinance number 885, an ordinance making certain determinations and findings relating to and approving the West Umatilla Urban Renewal Plan and directing that notice of approval be published.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Motion is first and seconded. Can we get a roll call at this time?
Counselor Vanderburg. Aye. Counselor Dufflaw.
Aye.
Counselor Smith. Counselor Dennis McMillan. Counselor McLean.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Our public hearing is now closed. We are now back on a regular session meeting. Moving on now to new business item 9.1, resolution number 53, 2026. I'm assuming this is Dave.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you, Mayor. So before you is funds from the Oregon State Marine Board, what they call their Maintenance Assistance Grant Program. They used to call it MAP funds. These are funds that are both federal funds through the CVA, the Clean Vessel Act, and through the state registration fees collected as well. These are for your regular operations and maintenance of the facility and minor maintenance of the facilities, but they are not for capital improvement to the marina. So these are funds that help us maintain and operate the day-to-day operations of the marina.
Great. Any questions from council?
No.
Okay, we've talked about this a number of times. I think that's pretty much good. Looking for a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. We approve new business item 9.1, resolution number 53-2026.
A second.
Motion is first and seconded. Looking for a roll call at this time.
Counselor Vanderburg. Aye. Counselor Dufflaw.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Dave, there appears to be an error on the TV asking you to contact Samsung.
I'm on it.
And do you want to give him a call?
Hello, Mr. Samsung. Can we get somebody to fix this, please? And fix his mic.
Just Lyle's.
Mine?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's going up.
It just turns off
It's the last
randomly.
mic.
Apparently that mic is not a Samsung mic.
No.
Yeah, it could very well be. Moving on now to 9.2, resolution 53, 2026. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll have HR manager. You can take care of that for us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Per our annual employee handbook update, we have a few updates for you. Luckily this year, the state legislature was fairly quiet in regards to our handbook and our employee relations. So before you, that updated handbook includes mostly cleanup items to help, again, just make sure that our policy reflects our actual, day-to-day operations for a number of our policies. Things like our travel meals, attending conferences, cleaning up some of that language to make it clearer for staff on what is and is not compensable, and what they can receive for per diem and whatnot. Also, there's been some changes to some of our benefits that are offered through our third-party benefit administrator, CIS. And instead of enumerating them specifically in our handbook, because it changes depending on our third-party administrator, we decided to strike those out and allow our third-party administrator to administer those. A few changes, including our employee assistance program, our EAP, and how that is determined on eligibility. We'll be changing this next year. So again, mostly cleaning up items like that. One thing I did want to point out is about 10 months ago or so, the city manager came to me and said, hey, can we encourage our staff to volunteer more in our community? And so doing some research and looking at some of what some other employers are doing, they offer a volunteer leave policy. And so that's something that we've included in this iteration of our employee handbook, and allowing up to, I believe it was 16 hours per fiscal year of volunteer leave. Now, what this would do is allow staff to take paid time off from their job to go and volunteer in the community, whether that's with a 501c3, a 501c6, things like the chamber and other governing boards of community programs. It encourages them to participate or volunteer with other government entities, excluding the city of Umatilla. So the school district, the county, and other such entities. We currently have a number of staff, or at least we have in past years. Coach, we had a number of coaches and for Umatilla High School track and field that we want to continue to support and encourage. We've had staff members on boards for nonprofits that we want to continue to encourage. And so we thought that this was a good way to help encourage our staff to volunteer more in our community. And so our policy for our volunteer leave outlines what is and what is not acceptable. And it really allows the city ultimate control if they try to volunteer with an organization that we think is detrimental to the image of the city. We can put a kibosh on using volunteer leave for that. Again, just hopefully it encourages our staff to contribute more to our communities and to programs and activities that are close to their heart and that can really benefit the community. So with that, are there any questions from council that I can help answer on this updated employee?
You literally answered the question I was going to ask, so.
Yeah, great. Okay, any further questions from council that already haven't been answered?
No.
Okay, with no further questions, looking for motion at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. We approve new business item 9.2, resolution number 54-2026.
Thank you, sir, for motion. We have a second motion, please. Oh, hold on. There's one part of that we need to add. And repeal resolution 24-2025.
What?
You need to add that.
We have
to add the repeal part.
Oh, okay, so I'd like to make a motion. We approve resolution number 54-2026 and repeal, what was it?
24-2025.
Mine doesn't say, I guess it does say that. Repeal resolution number 24-2025. I didn't even see that on the side.
Nancy, did you get all that? Okay, we got it. All right. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, sir. At this time, can we get a roll call?
Counselor Funderburg. Aye. Counselor Duffloff.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan. Counselor McLean.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving on now to our second public comment period this evening. That's a good head nod. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Moving on now to the mayor's message for this evening. I've got a couple items I want to discuss. First off, I want to say, as a former student and as a co-worker of this individual and a current city council member, I've really enjoyed working with you, and I really am excited, Ms. Funderburk, talking about you. I've heard a rumor mill going around that you're retiring. I just want to say congratulations on your retirement to the school district, and thank you for your 30 years plus of your service to our community. And I'm excited for what's next for you. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm very excited for you, and congratulations on retirement.
Thank you.
I wanted to address you for a phenomenal question and one that was on the top of my mind as well. And I appreciate it, and keep coming. And really keep asking good questions. We need that more often. So, and thank you for Mr. Tagland. I don't know. Thank you very much for your questions and comments in the back. It is appreciated. And thank you for coming. And we look forward to hearing more from community members. And thank you very much for everyone who came in attendance today. That's all I have. Ms. Funderburk, you want to get us started here?
Thank you for saying that. That was very nice. Yeah, thank you to everyone who came. Also, again, thank the city for their support of our school and being willing to hang the flags for them. That means a lot to them and to, yeah, it means a lot. And I was excited to hear about the flag football team. What age group are they?
It's a 12 and under, which is actually some 13-year-olds because there's like a cutoff date or whatever, and then 14 and unders.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So I was excited about that. So thanks for all the city does. We appreciate it very much.
Mr. DeFloss.
Yeah, I want to say, first of all, thanks for all the public comment, and I appreciate it. We want to hear that feedback, even though people think that we don't hear them, we do. It's kind of a guideline that we don't really make comment back, and so they think I'm not being addressed. So with that, yeah, I think there was some stuff. I think everything got answered tonight. I'm pretty sure. The only one I think was the concern on the street that's going through. And of course, I think that's being addressed as well. Yes, there is a lot of change going and I appreciate you coming and talking about your business being affected. I completely agree. I too own a business and I too fall under the same category of having to adjust and be patient with the growth and it's really difficult. I get it. I 100% get it. Also, we have landing days coming up. Can we get some static signs up somewhere on 395, 730, so people know that we have this wonderful event coming? And maybe it's something that I need to talk to Parks and Rec about, but I just think that we're missing an opportunity as a community to be able to represent that we have a wonderful event coming up and we have so many people traveling on the corridor 730 and 395 right there. If we can get something at either ends and as you come in, I know back in the day, we used to have these wonderful hand painted, just wonderful community events.
I used to have to hang those up every summer. That was
They
the
were-
worst.
They were awesome because it was somebody that loved our community and did that. So that if we could figure out some kind of signage, I just think that we're missing an opportunity to really hit that if we can. We don't need to have the big $90,000 bazillion sign up. I'm just saying something that static sign.
We'll
there.
give you both. So the landing days banners went up on the lights yesterday.
Okay.
So as we took down graduation banner, we put a landing day banner in its place. Thank you to Good Shepherd as our title sponsor this year. So you'll see that on there. Our new message board has it, and then our big $90,000 message board, that digital one that you just mentioned, that will find a home on 395. We just haven't found the spot for it yet, but that will be going up here pretty soon. And then the vinyl signs that we printed out, put the grommets in and all that kind of stuff, those will be going up here pretty soon as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. I just think, I know that the traffic on 730 when trying to go anywhere at around 5 o'clock, 4:30 for exactly that time read banners. Book. Exactly.
Some good reading material.
No, I appreciate it. I really do. I would love for a little city to stay in this little cocoon and not ever change. And it's changed so much in the last 30 years or so that I've been here. And I just think that it's wonderful and it's wonderful and it's not. So, but again, I don't want to make the same mistakes that, our forefathers did and not project into the future. And I really want us to focus on how we can make it better. I have grandchildren now running around, and so I see that coming in. And I appreciate the fact that our city is actually looking past our nose to spite our face and just going forward. So I thank you for that. I really appreciate the presentation earlier on the urban growth. I know it's different, unusual, and there is some risk, but I think it's very valued. I think that's all I have. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Oh, and Josiah, thank you for the presentation. Looked good, buddy. Thank you. And Zach, great job. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Well, that doesn't leave much for me to say.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Darren covered
Thanks,
it.
dear.
It's amazing the change in Umatilla in the 20 years that I've been involved in government and committees and all of those kind of things. 20 years ago, we couldn't have imagined what is now happening. I mean, if we could, we were doing.
Mike went off.
This was a small little private town. And it has changed, and it's gonna continue to change. Change is good.
Yeah.
As long as it's well planned, and I think the city staff is doing a wonderful job. And also, I think the city staff is doing a wonderful job planning the future. What we talked about today is just one example of that. Umatilla is going to be a much better place to live, and it was wonderful 20 years ago, but it's getting better, and it's going to be better for the youngsters that are in schools and go off to college, get the degree, will come back. Where kids that went to Umatilla High School didn't come back. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, Mr. McLean, or Mr. McMillan, I apologize.
I'd like to say congratulations to all of our graduates and stuff. And Corinne, you were at the graduation, weren't you? I heard you laugh. Yeah, you can't mistake that. It's contagious. Anyway, thanks everybody for showing up. It really does make a difference when we can hear people's voices and opinions, and maybe we can't solve all the world's problems, but it's good to hear feedback at least. Gosh, I don't have much. Oh, I want to thank Darla Huxell for putting up all the flags again for Memorial Day and then taking them all down herself. As far as I know, she did all herself. So I want to say thanks to Darla. And that's all I got other than Zach. I'll probably be seeing you for applying for a permit one of these days. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Keep it a small shed. Okay.
Yeah.
Bruce.
Hey, they didn't get them all. I was checking checking items.
Wait, I got one more thing.
I got a couple up my sleeve on this one. So I think it's appropriate. I mean, although she snuck out and headed home, we should probably thank Elaine Howard for actually making a trip up here to do the presentation in person. Dave, I'm sure you'll take care of that, but want to recognize her for taking the time to be here in person. Zach, you mentioned it, but it's exciting to see the brown paper come off the windows and to actually see the business that's there. It's like, that's exciting. That's what the business is, that's what the building is about. And I guess another thing is, I mean, it does, I think we're still all, having a pity party over Scott moving on to, bigger and better things, but it's pretty darn impressive to watch the city and the supervisors make the public works department look like, it's not skipped a beat. Life goes on and, other people get opportunities out of this, but it's I'd like to recognize the Public Works Department for, continuing to take care of things like they always have. In my kind of typical fashion, safety stuff. Once we get through this next cold front, I suspect summer's going to show up in an ugly sort of way. So sunscreen, remember to hydrate. Now, the only problem with hydrating is you end up walking out of a meeting in the middle of it. But, these things happen.
Yeah.
Well done, Bruce.
Okay. With that, we're looking for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. We adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Get a second motion, please.
I'll second that.
Motion's been first and seconded. Can we get a roll call at this time?
Counselor Funderburg. Aye. Counselor Dufflock.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
You guys have it. This meeting is now adjourned.
Do the gavel. No. Oh, come on.
I'll go when I have to.